Hi, it's Pastor Andy, and a Friday preview for you for Sunday, March the 21st. And this week we're going to be in Romans chapter 8, verses 26 through 30. Passage that is probably moderately familiar to many people, but verse 28 is one that is very familiar to most. Last week we talked about suffering, and we must understand that Romans 8:28 is in this passage about suffering, and suffering for the sake of suffering is not fun. But if we suffer for a greater purpose, and if we know what that purpose is, if we can believe that that purpose is enough, then we are more likely to endure. And as I've mentioned elsewhere and or before, athletes train. They will push their bodies to the limits of their strength and to the limits of their endurance for a greater purpose, for instance. And perhaps in doing that, they become a premier athlete of sorts, and maybe that helps them win a championship. Maybe it helps them win an Olympic medal or whatever it might be. But that suffering, that they see a greater goal before them, and so they're willing to endure for the moment, for the opportunity of something greater. But here's the difference between a great Olympic athlete versus, let's say, a Christian. The Olympic athlete cannot prevent injury. There is suffering that they are doing in the training and their growth, and they're becoming stronger and having better endurance and becoming faster, whatever it is. But at a moment they could be injured. And see, for those who are children of God, we may suffer, and Romans 8:17 says that we will suffer. But and really Romans 8:17 through 8:30 speaks at this idea at some length. But the suffering is not only not without purpose, but it has a goal that we don't get to decide. God has, in fact, already decided that goal. For those who believe, for those who are children of God, that suffering is being used by God for one goal. And in fact, this is, according to Romans 8, verses 26 through 30, this is the will of God. I'm not saying it's the only part of the will of God, but this is a key aspect of the will of God. That if you are a child of God, that you are conformed to the image of Christ. So we're going to look a little bit this week about what it means to become more like Christ in light of realizing that that it is an important part of God's will, and that He wants us to be like Christ, that on this earth we will never fully make it, and yet the goal, the end goal, it's not only something that's possible, but if we understand the text, it's something that is already assured. So our text this week is Romans chapter 8, verses 26 through 30. I will hope to see you Sunday as we continue this look at Paul's letter to the Romans in Romans chapter 8. Next week, we will take a break for Hub Sunday, and we will have a message that will be regarding Holy Week, and then we will return and finalize Romans chapter 8, and a great passage, the last 9 verses of this letter, or of this chapter, I should say, on Resurrection Sunday. So again, I'll hope to see you on Sunday.